So I hope you took the time to actually write the code and try this. But now, okay, we're gonna actually switch it around. So we have this, and we are going to switch it around in the following way. Okay, so the code was dog P equals new dog puppy, right? And I said dog Q. Now, this is the part that I am changing. In the past, Q was in this side and P was in this side. So I switched them, okay? And then I'm gonna say P dot set name to Pooch, and so on and so forth, okay? But keep in mind that these two have been changed. By being changed, I mean they had been switched, right? So now, going back to this property, we know that now whatever is in Q, it's going to be given to P. And at this point, we know that because Q was not initialized, then Q actually is null, okay? So what I am doing is passing null, which is nothing, to P, right? So I'm saying I'm going to do that. Now, what happens? Try to think now that they are both pointing to the same, they have a reference to the same object or to the same place in memory, and that Q is null and the value of Q, or meaning null, has been given to P. So what's going to happen when I say P dot set name to Pooch? So I just recommend you pause and think about it, because P now is nothing. Well, what's going to happen in here is that you are going to get a null pointer exception, okay? What happened here is that Q has nothing. Now P is pointing to nothing as well. It has a reference to nothing, to null. So when I try to say, oh, in nothing, set the name of nothing to Pooch, that doesn't exist. So I am going to get a null pointer exception. And that is something that you can actually see right in the code, okay? You are going to get an exception. So I actually love trying these things at home. So I am going to test with a person object that that we have, that you are familiar with, because you're probably creating that for your assignment right now. So I'm not going to show you the code for that because that's your homework, but I am going to be using it in here, okay? So to begin with, I have a person P, which I'm going to create, and it's a new person. So I am creating the variable, and I am actually initializing to be a new person. So this is a reference to a new person that it's going to have an ID of 1, 2, 3, that is going to have one nice name and some comment, okay? And I am declaring person Q, which is not initialized, okay? So I say system out print line, and I print P. I'm going to be printing P, and I print it out, right? With my toString method. Good. So I then make Q have the same reference as P, okay? And after that, I print Q, okay? I'm going to print Q, fine, I see that. And then I am going to go ahead and change Q, and instead of having one nice name, I'm going to use the reference, Q's reference to the object that are both a referencing to, so both of them, P and Q, are referencing to this object, but I'm going to use the Q one in order to change the name to one ugly name. So after I change it, I'm going to print P and Q again. And as I explained in the PowerPoint, they both need to change, right? Because they are just both references to the exact same object. So I can change it one way, or I can change it the other way. Okay, so keep that in mind. So P and Q, I'm just testing the exact same code that I gave you with the dog, but in here I'm using actually person. So I am going to compile my code, okay, to clear it, and now I'm going to run it. And here it goes. So let's take a look. So I print P, which is one nice name with ID 1, 2, 3 and a comment, and I make Q to reference the same as P. Now I print Q, and it's going to print the exact same thing as P, right? Because they are. Now, up to here, you may think, wow, you're just duplicating the objects. But no, it's a reference, because after this, I change Q and P to both be have the same reference. So it's this statement in line 7 that's happening. And so after that, I'm going to print P and Q, right? So after that, I make them both to have the same reference. I print Q, and then I change Q. And when I change Q, I print them both, and they both have now one ugly name. So it totally changed. And the way, actually, this is more visible. Instead of one ugly name, I'm going to put a bunch of X's. Okay, so I'm going to compile. So when I set that to Q, P is going to have those X's as well. So compile. And when I run it, as you can see, I print P and then I print Q. And they both have a bunch of X's. Okay, so that's what happened. So now I'm going to do what I suggested you did. I'm going to switch it around, and instead of assigning this way, this is the correct way, right? I'm going to say P equals Q. Because I know that Q is null. When I put it to P, now P is going to be null as well, okay? Both of them have references to null. So the very moment that I try to access it, you know, to use it, it's gonna just give me a null pointer exception right in there, okay? So I cannot reference a variable that is pointing to null because there is no reference, because there is nothing. Remember, null is nothing. So let's bomb this program. I'm gonna save it. Okay, let's clear this, and I'm going to compile it. And compiles, you know, but you know, it's telling me that it might not be initialized. Man, you know, now that is not gonna let you bomb it, but see you the bombing. But let's try this. Now I initialize it, right, to null, but okay, you know, it's initialized. So at least now it has that fail safe. It used to be that it will let me do it and then boom, it will crash. So I compile it. Now let's run it. And when it runs, that happens, right? I am getting a null pointer exception as advertised in line 10. And this is when I am trying to reference an object that it's pointing to null. Again, you know, I wasn't able to give you a good punchline in here because it knew that I didn't initialize the object, which, you know, if I do this, it should, you know, in the past, it will let me just go for it, right? Which later on, it will be a big deal, right? It let me do the non-initialization, but when I'm trying to do this thing that I tell you that is a problem, it will give me an error. So maybe if you don't know these things and you try to do this kind of assignment, you are gonna actually get this kind of error. But now you will know why that error may happen. Okay, so I let you with this code. This code I'm not going to give you because I actually want you to try it and write your own object. Okay.